Alright guys, so we are headed today to a mobile job. We got about 2 hours out. It is 27 degrees. We're filling the tank now. Oh man, and we have lights. It's fine. It'll get us there. I know hotshot trucks that have way more lights on the dash than this. So hopefully I have enough to fill the tank, but we're gonna get her filled and head out. Oh, so this is what it sounds like when it high idles itself. Lope tune. So check out the idle difference. See how it smooths out? So there's a different map for its high idle and me manually putting it in high idle. But like I said, we're gonna get out of here. I have 3/4 of a tank. So we're gonna have to get some PA fuel today, back into that little trash can there. Don't you fall over. And we'll get out of here. All right, so we are on job site now. We have a mobile jobby over here. So we got to drop that trailer and then pull it into a shop real quick. And then we're going to be doing rear brakes on this. Hopefully, if we get the parts, we can do the front ones as well today. But that's what we're tackling today. So let's go get in the shop and go from there. Good 2-hour hike to get out. I don't usually do these types of jobs much, depending on the weather, because it's like 25 degrees out here. But we're gonna be doing rear brakes on this guy here. I gotta get the trailer dropped for him, so that'll be fun. But here she is. So I gotta get these wheels and tires off, fit it into a little shop, and see how it goes. Like I said, if the fronts come in, we'll do the fronts today as well. That sketched me out at first until I realized there was the lug nuts inside. But yeah, so let's get that dropped and see what we can get into. Let's see if she starts. Good old second gen door. Gotta lift it. Huh. Alright. See if she starts. Where's that wait to start light? Yeah. Oh, she starts right up. Exhaust is right under the seat. I gotta see if I can get this thing in there. Alright, so we got one side done and adjusted. This is hours later. These were so seized. So yeah, this took a lot longer than it was supposed to. So I'm gonna get everything slapped on. I got it adjusted. We threw our anti-seize in there. So we're gonna slap it back on. Like I said, already adjusted. So all we gotta do is throw this back on, get the wheels and tires on, and we are good on this side. And then we will bleed the brakes because we did do the wheel cylinder as well. Might as well while we're in here. And this piece was not connected. If you can see, that piece was not connected, which was causing some issues down here. So we have this now, and we're good. In all the excitement, I forgot to film most of the shit, but we're done. Whew. The fucker is loud. But yeah, we're done, so that's my brake job for the day. Drum brakes suck. We are never scheduling those again, because not until I get some employees, because that's sucked. It needed everything. Alright, so I'm going to go over some things on this truck. I did not specify. You can see, this is from the grid heater. This broke. This is a bad connection. This will cause electrical issues, check engine lights. And, where is... Okay, you can also see the crosswire right here, right? I'm going to show you guys this, right? So you guys see how loose this is. This is the crosswire. It goes from that battery over there. If this wire is physically loose and not making a connection to this battery, okay, you see that? You see how loose that is? The alternator will do one of two things. One, it will either not charge at all, or two, it will put out max voltage. Now, why will it do that? This crossover wire, if you go look at the forums, 9 times out of 10, the alternator is not charging or overcharging because of this wire, this cross wire, because the PCM is reading this battery here. And if it's seeing that this battery is not charging, it's going to go back and tell the voltage regulator and tell the alternator, to charge more, put out more voltage. You're not getting anything, and you'll get a nice light on the dash that says check gauges. So obviously, before we diagnose this truck, we know that it came in for smoking, but we also know that it came in for other problems as well. We're going to be tackling some of the other things. This customer wants this truck perfect. It's not just about the injectors. Yes, we are going to get the injectors tested. We do need to pull them. All the signs point to it definitely needs injectors. This truck also had a PCM code, intermittent PCM connection. I cleared the code. I did not show you guys that. Also, when you go to crank this truck, sometimes it cuts out. That's why I said about the battery terminal. You can see, like, this isn't so much of a big deal because of that, but like, it's still a loose connection. So we're going to get all this stuff cleaned up, and we're going to do that first. We're going to start it. We're going to run it. And I would like to drive it and see if it's a high return thing or if it's a leaking injector, but at the same time, you know, all the signs point to that. So we are going to pull it. We're going to get it checked. So I might just fix these connections, pull the injectors, go get them tested. And then depending on where we're at determines on if we are going to be fixing transmission, if they, you know, might take the cab, but that's the point. Apparently doing an hour of diagnostics is ripping a customer off. So, but in my opinion, I would rather sit here and diagnose this thing correctly, knowing that the customer is going to get a good truck, especially with my reputation on the line. I'm not just going to throw parts at this thing. So we're going to fix it. And like I said, I'm going to take all this off, get these cleaned up, get this tightened down, because like that's not acceptable. This one's still kind of loose, but we're going to get that tightened up. I'm going to clean them first, just so that I know there's a good solid connection. And we are going to have to replace this. This is for the grid heater and the alternator itself. Again, this is an electrical issue. I understand that it was throwing a boost code and I think there was a map sensor code, but it was also throwing 8 other codes. So if there's an electrical issue, you need to fix that first before you start diagnosing all these codes. So PCM intermittent code, duh, no shit. That's going to happen from things like this. You guys tell me, is this really charging? Do you really think that that's doing what it's supposed to do? This is the alternator wire right here. So this one's tight. This is the only good tight one. So, but yeah, like I said, we're going to get this fixed real quick and then we will go from there. All right. So other than that guy there, I need to order one, the piece on the end. So I put it on the other side. I cleaned everything up. We sprayed it with the fluid film, the PP blaster, cleaned the terminals up. I pulled every one of them off, cleaned on the inside, cleaned all that stuff, made sure they are tight. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to clear the code again. What we're trying to figure out now is if we have a high return rate code or if we just have a bad injector. You cannot just assume. I understand if things point to an injector, but unfortunately, this is a diagnostic process. This is how this works. So what we're going to do, I'm going to clear the codes again because I cleared 8 codes. 2 came back on immediately. Could be an electrical thing, could not be. It's something you just want to check it. Then we're going to see if it's a high return rate code or it's actually a bad injector. So here's the thing. The smoking can be caused by a high return rate. So if you're putting a bad connection in there and it's not giving it all of the pressure that it needs, obviously the output result is going to be bad. So I'm going to go drive it up the road and we're going to bring it down the mountain at around, you know, in 3rd gear and lock up and see if it triggers the limp mode code. If it does, then we know we have a high return rate. Then at that point, we can try and see about tightening up those cross tubes. If you know, the cross tubes could fix it. If they do not fix it, then we go and get the injectors tested. Now, here's the other thing. If that code does not come on, then we know we could possibly have a leaky injector. Then we have 2 options. I'll consult the customer with this. We can either try some of the suggestions that were put in the last video, or we can just go get them tested, verify they're bad, and then go and replace them. I'm only going to get 3 tested. We'll get the first 3 tested, or, you know, 1, 3, 5, whatever keeps the internet happy, you know, because everyone's going to complain about something. So that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to get this thing fired up, check it out, and see if we get any more, see what codes we get now. Now, before we had 8 codes, now we have 5. So map sensor, turbocharger sensor, ECM input signal intermittent, fuel rail system pressure high, and injection pump, fuel meter, and control cam, circle injector. So I'm going to clear all these, race data, see what comes on, see what we can get to come back. Like I said, this is all covered in the 1 hour of diagnostic. It's not hurting a customer for me to sit here and do an actual real diagnostic on it and then consult them. Yeah, so it's just throwing those two. So we're gonna run it. We'll get her fired up. And we will check the live data. We'll go drive it real quick. And like I said, I just want to see which code it throws. Is it a high return, or do we have a leaking injector? We're not gonna run it very long. We're gonna go through here, check all the stuff we need to, live data. All right, so we drove it. Unfortunately, it does feel kind of like a hung up injector more than anything. The two codes that did come back were obviously the map sensor and the boost sensor. So customer has opted, you know, for a couple of things. By the way, this is not my handprint. None of that's my handprint. I know guys are gonna say something about that in the comment. These are not my handprints. I know it looks like mine, but so what we're gonna be doing with this one is we have given the customer a few options. So you guys will be able to see, just so you know, we always try to be transparent with our customers. So we gave them the option, we can get 3 injectors tested, we can go drop them off. And it's like $170 for like 3 injectors to get tested, and then $340 for the rest. But obviously at this point, everything points to it. So I gave him the option. He said, let's just skip the fee. I'm gonna try to find some 30% over injectors. Get a couple gauges installed. So we're going to get a boost gauge. No, we're going to get a fuel pressure gauge and an oil pressure gauge and a CTS2 thrown in it. So with an EGT gauge. So we'll be able to do that. Definitely wants to get it nice and bulletproof. We might be doing a full send diesel transmission pan at some point with the heat exchanger in the pan. And then we'll be deleting this heat exchanger, probably going to be getting some full send diesel lines. So that's what's going on with this thing. So might turn around and be cool, but yeah, 30% over injectors is what we're going to be shooting for. So hope you guys enjoy and stick around for that. But if you guys do need work, like I said, we are limited on certain things, but we are booking kind of what makes sense. So this truck's going to sit until we get parts, and then we will go from there. So like I said, if you guys are interested, send me a message and I will let you know if that is something that we are able to do at the time we are doing it. But we're going to be getting cleaned up here, and then we are done for the day. Gonna go home, edit, eat, work on the other business, and see how everything is going. All right, showing my face again. I know I've been doing this a little more in some of these videos, but to end this video off, I kind of want to give you guys some information, because we might have some new people in the channel, but we also have some things that I really would like to go over because it has been a hot minute. You know, a lot of guys wonder what I'm doing outside of like whatever I'm filming and this and that. And I just figured I'd take this time to kind of go over it because, you know, not much going on. I'm after work. It's already done. Everything's good. I'm just trying to kill time before I got to go to the gym because I'm already done. And why drive home when I have to drive the opposite direction a half hour? Anyway, so with that being said, you guys wonder, all right, so what am I? Who am I? What am I working? You know, where do I make my money? This and that. So guys, if you guys don't know, I have a diesel repair business that is also technically labeled as a more so like it's CP Logistics, right? So we're more so labeled on the logistics side, towing this and that, but this is where I make my money. I'm not just some random guy out here doing this and that. We, you know, it's a legitimate business. We make money off of fixing people's trucks, taking care of them, and yada yada, right? We are completely different from most other shops on the market. In the sense of basically it's just me right now. Down the road, I would like to get some employees. We are working on getting a shop. We have a 4-bay shop out in Grantville. We're just waiting on an eviction for the previous tenants to get kicked out. We heard back today from the realtor. Unfortunately, you know, they can kick that back 3 or 4 times apparently, and the eviction is not going as smoothly as we were really hoping it was supposed to. We were supposed to be in January. Now it's February, we still don't have it. So, unfortunately, I'm only able to book certain things, and I'm only able to book what makes sense. So, certain jobs that come in, obviously, yesterday I did a brake job. It was a mobile job. It was one of those, you know, I'll do something different, right? I'll go out there, and the reason that made sense for me to do was because, 1, I get paid for the drive time out there, but 2, it's mobile. I don't have to bring it into the shop. I don't have to tear a bay apart, whatnot. We do offer that service for now. So, any of the mobile stuff, if you have a shop, we can come out to you, but we do charge for the time to go out there. It's just one of those things that, unfortunately, fuel is expensive, and time, it's still time, one way or the other. Whether I spend 5 hours in the shop or I spend an hour driving one way, an hour driving back, it's still the same thing. So, but yeah, you guys get the point. This is where I make my money. It's not like I'm not a guy who's out here and works a full-time job and then has a side gig doing something. This is my full-time life. I take care of my family, my 3 kids, and my wife all through this. This is what I do. We are working on getting the website back up and taking care of more customers because we have some cool things that we're going to be adding to the website that is going to make hotshot life so much easier for guys that need to get their trucks repaired. We are going to be working on implementing a lot of that stuff. But that kind of answers the question of who I am, and what I'm doing for a living is basically this. I take hotshot loads every now and again. I am leased under a company, and some people know who it is, some people don't. I'm not going to say anything because unfortunately commercial vehicles do not have any constitutional rights, and they can just pull you over or show up to your house whenever they want, and there's no question about it. So I try to keep that stuff off of YouTube anymore, and that's pretty much that. So our monthly expenses, we got to pay about $8,000 a month just to break even on the business and the home side. And guys, having 3 kids is expensive. Between grocery bills, heat bill, everything is expensive. So I got to pay for all that. And unfortunately, there is not a W-2 job in the world that is going to pay me enough money to be able to do that on my own. So I started this whole thing, and it's been going well the past couple years. Most of the time I tried to focus on the hotshot stuff, but in recent news, it used to be hotshot made all the money. I did mobile mechanic for about a year. I remember a couple years ago when I only did like $45,000 in that year, and I was like, man, this really sucks. So I went back to hotshot, brought it back up to $120,000. It was all well and good. My expenses were only like 40% of what I was making. For me, that was good money. I could take time off. Now we're back in the shop, and unfortunately with the way things are going and just my feelings on commercial vehicles in general, I like rights. I like having rights. And unfortunately, as a commercial vehicle, you are government property, and you are nothing but a bank to DOT officers. You can get pulled over whether you did something or not. So here I am. I'm out here fixing your guys' stuff, and it's what I'm going to be doing for a long while. We will be getting some employees in once we are in the new shop because, like I said, a 4-bay shop, I'm not going to be able to take care of all that myself. And we're also going to offer some mobile work on top of that. We're going to be still doing some hotshot loads within the state. Just everything is definitely going to be looking up for this year. We just had a really, really good month this month. I think shop revenue was like $15,000 or some shit like that. Obviously, their invoices, we are waiting for people to send their money in because we have to get paid. But new things are going to be coming for the month of February. We are definitely going to be implementing the fact that there is going to have to be money down, and depending on how expensive certain bills are, because I've done work for people that have, ranged up to $10,000 or $20,000 at one time, and unfortunately at this point in time where we're sitting, sometimes people like to take advantage of that, and credit-wise, it's just, I'm not a credit card. So last year, I took all the time in the world I think it was like the last year and a half, I paid off about $60,000 in debt with this business, which is awesome, but unfortunately that did not leave me with much capital. So now we're just at the point where we're using this year to basically rebuild and go higher than I ever have this year. We have some unrealistic financial goals that I want to meet this year. I think we're going to do it, but at the same time, we're also going to help out a lot of people. So if you guys enjoyed this little rant, feel free, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, send me a message. If you got any work, let me know. Like I said, we aren't accepting everything, but we are accepting what makes sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like fuel savings, go check out link in the description, Mudflap. Save yourself some money. You get $10, I get $10, and bam, everybody wins. And you save a shitload of money on fuel. And depending on the time of the year, a couple months ago, we were saving $2 a gallon on fuel. It was great. So, and here's the difference between Mudflap and other fuel cards is you don't actually need to have a fleet. You don't need to have a company. You don't need to have any of that. You can just be a personal guy with a diesel truck. You could have a Volkswagen Rabbit diesel. You can use Mudflap. You can get that fuel savings. Do it. I'm telling you. In Pennsylvania, the cheapest stop that I can get is that Onvo, and it is way cheaper than anywhere else. I just filled up today for $5 a gallon, but if I would have went to that Onvo, I could have probably got it for $4.50 a gallon, saved me another 50 cents. So, like I said, see you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one.